Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, looks like I know where I'm having the next bonfire. Right here. All this bloody wood here. That's not why you called. No, this one's rather serious because it revolves around Tommy Robinson again. So we already know that Richard Inman has been denied the right to visit Tommy Robinson to lift his spirits and everything. But it seems we now have another casualty as far as denial of visitation is concerned with Paul Thorpe. And I will put the question out again. It turns out I was just about there with Marfleet. Nicola Marfleet. What have you got to hide, Nicola? Why is so important that we can't visit Tommy Robinson when he's in prison? Bearing in mind that as a civil offender, he should be in a Category D prison, at worst Category C, but he's in a Category B prison. So what have you got to hide, Nicola? What's so important that Tommy Robinson mustn't get visitation? Why is he not being allowed his right to have visits, which is in his human rights? And let me be reminded, stroke number one, let me remind you that any period of time beyond 2 weeks in solitary confinement, as well as denying him his visitation, you are in direct contravention of Article 3 of the Human Rights Act, torture. I don't care if your orders come from the bloody government itself. You are a human being, or you're supposed to be, but the way I look at it, you're behaving with the same level of bile and vitriol as akin to Keir the traitor Starmer, the subhuman scumbag who wants to prioritise Islam over its own people. And as I said before, surely if you have nothing to hide, if there is nothing about Tommy Robinson that is potentially damning to you, you got nothing to fear. I suspect if I put my request to put into stroke number two, we're going a stroke a minute. If I put my right to visit Tommy Robinson, a prison visit, I suspect it would get declined. Just like that. You know why? Because it was the same fucking reason that they used for Richard Inman. We're worried about what you'll post on your social media. I mean, Paul has even said he's willing to sign an NDA. Is that not enough for you? Are you trying to demoralise the British public or piss them off? Well, let me tell you something. The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out, Nicola Marfleet. Just like Keir the traitor Starmer will find out sooner or later. If you keep denying people their right to visit Tommy, because Tommy has a right to have visitation. He had that right when he was in Belmarsh, and the governor of that place at least had a conscience and at least said, you know what, yep, we'll give him his visitation rights. You haven't, Nicola Marfleet, and I will reiterate, because he's spending all his time in solitary confinement, and you can try and justify it all you want with the fucking excuse of, oh, because we're a mostly Muslim population prison, we have to keep him in there for their safety. Bollocks. Why not just let him out, not on the main wing, but just let him have some room to breathe. Let him at least have a chance to go out and enjoy himself, rather than be locked in a box for basically 20 hours a day. But he needs to be treated as a human being and not some piece of filth akin to you, Marfleet. And I will say that about you. You got a fucking problem with that? Ring up Norfolk stroke number 3, Norfolk Constabulary, and have me arrested. If you've got a problem with what I'm saying to you, call them, sensitive snowflake. But I'm telling you right fucking now, he has every right to that visitation. And you denying him puts you in danger of being in prison yourself, Marfleet. And I'd like to remind you that coppers aren't exactly treated kindly in prison, are they? Maybe you could pick out a few special exceptions as far as cops who have actually gone the extra mile for prisoners. But outside that, cops are usually treated with a great deal of hostility. Maybe not so much as the predators, if you catch my drift, but they're still treated with great ire nonetheless. It's time to prove what you really are, Nicola. Are you a human being, or are you a robot for the government? In fact, speaking of the government, this is a question for the police as a whole. Mainly to the superintendents, the ones higher up, the ones pulling the strings, as it were. Here's my question to you, superintendents and higher ups. Hey, Mark Rowley, this also includes you wanker. Who do you serve? I'll repeat it one more time because I'm a kind person. Who do you serve? Your people or your government? I want that to sink in, because last time I checked, the British police, any police for that matter, their duty should be towards their people. Their duty is to protect and serve the public and to restore peace when that peace is lost temporarily for whatever reason. And I'm going to make this quite plain with you, Nicola Marfleet. We can easily amass a substantial number of people to come up to Woodhill and give you something to really groan about. Hey buddy, nice to see you. Nice to see you, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing alright, just doing another video right now. Don't worry. Have a good day though. God, I'm getting around. Anyway, we can mass massive numbers outside of Woodhill prison. We've already done the same in Belmarsh when he was originally imprisoned in there. What do you think it's going to be like for you, Nicola, if we turn up with thousands of people outside the prison demanding the release of any political prisoners and Tommy Robinson? Do you think you're going to enjoy that? I can assure you, free of charge, you will not enjoy that. You will not even remotely enjoy that. And I'm sure there are some people who would want to go that extra step further, though I do not want it to go to that, quite frankly. But we could start a protest outside your prison just like that, and then you really will have a fucking problem, because it won't just be one man you've got to worry about, it'll be thousands of us. And if you haven't got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to be able to make the right decisions, you are not fit for purpose, Nicola. And therefore, I would demand your resignation. Because Tommy Robinson should not be being held, as said, in a Category B prison with no visitation. Because that's effectively what's going on right now. They are denying people visitation because they're terrified of what us, the people, will put out there for the fast asleep. They are scared that we will put out information that will make Woodhill prison look really fucking bad, and they're damn right. There was nothing I would love more than to see Woodhill prison squirm, to see Nicola Marfleet squirm, because at the end of the day, she is just as bad as the scum that are in that prison. The people from their third world shitholes, or practicing that religion of peace that we kept getting told about. And no, I'm not against all Muslims. In fact, that guy who pulled over, said hello to me, I think he was a Muslim. And we had a great chat. You know why? He's working. He's contributing to society. He actually understands what this is all about. That's the thing. Much like Tommy Robinson, I separate Muslims and the ideology. There's a very big difference. Do I say Muslim grooming gangs? Yes, I do. You know why? Because it is unfortunately predominantly Muslims that do the grooming gang crimes. 84%. That was from Quillian, a Muslim think tank. So, don't take my word for it. But do I say it? Yes, I do. You know why? Because that is the religion of a lot of these people. That is the people who are doing it. But I don't have a problem with all Muslims, like some close-minded lefty NPCs would have you believe. I believe, as long as you're willing to contribute to our country, respect our beliefs and our cultures, and abide by the law, of course, then you're fine, in my book. That you can't get in the manifesto book. Unfortunately, that one's full. Anyway, the point is, I'm not sitting here saying that all Muslims are responsible for these crimes. What I am saying, though, is 41% of the people in Woodhill prison are practicing Islam. They're Muslims. That's the way I see it. And Islam, the definition is submission or surrender. It would seem like Nicola Marfleet would rather surrender to them than surrender to us. And that is a shame. Because her duty is to protect all of her prisoners and have a duty of care for her prisoners. So not only is she breaking the law as far as Article 3 of the Human Rights Act is concerned, torture, she's also in violation and is basically dereliction of duty in her own career, quite frankly. Therefore, Nicola Marfleet, it stands to reason why it would be in your best interests to, at bare minimum, give Tommy Robinson his visitation rights and stop with the bullshit NDA agreements, because the only type of people who would want to do that is when they've got information that they don't want to go public because it would damage their reputation. If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. So let's see, Nicola Marfleet, if you have got the balls, whether, as said, up here or down there, or in my case, both, to do the right thing. Because Paul Thorpe and Richard Inman, they even said they would have respected the NDAs. They just want to help give some support for Tommy. They're not sitting there saying, oh, what protest should we do next, boys? Or what are we going to do next? Are we going to get the Rape of Britain episode out next or whatever? No, they just want to go in and make sure he's all right. The same thing that a family would do for their own offspring. I'm sure family will want to see how you're getting on, Nicola Marfleet. How do you think they're going to do that if you're in prison? How do you think they're going to do that if we give you the same taste of your own medicine that you're giving to Tommy Robinson? Oh, I don't think you would like that, would you? And it turns out that there was actually 2 people sent to prison for contempt of court in 1960. But they only got 3 months. Tommy has gotten 18 months. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. But this isn't about the mainstream media. This is about the fact that Tommy Robinson is being violated in prison. It may not be physically, but it sure as hell is mentally. He is being mentally tortured, and to some lesser degree physically tortured, through the lack of nutrition. They have a duty of care to make sure Tommy Robinson lives. And I can tell you right now, if Tommy Robinson dies in prison, there will be an uprising like you would not believe. It'll make what happened in Southport look like a fucking picnic, quite frankly. Trust me, Marfleet, you do not want that. Because who do you think they're going to be? The first people to get targeted by the uprising? Keir the Traitor Starmer, Sadiq Khan, perhaps to a lesser degree Ricky Cutthroats Jones. But they'll also come for you, because you were the one directly responsible for the well-being of Tommy Robinson. And let me be absolutely clear, so it is beyond any doubt, I do not want an uprising. I do not want a violent revolution akin to the French Revolution in the 18th or 19th century. I do not want that. None of us want that. We have been asking for peace for over 10, 20 fucking years. And yet you lot seem to be hell-bent on poking the bear with a stick. You seem hell-bent on trying to aggravate us into a civil war. You seem hell-bent on having the people overthrow the government. Do you know what will happen if that happens? Do you know what will happen if the people decide to overthrow the government? I have a very strong suspicion Keir the traitor Starmer will end up killed. I have a very sneaky suspicion you will end up killed, Nicola, even though I don't want it. Just like Keir the traitor Starmer, as much as I loathe him, I don't want him dead. But they will cause all hell to break loose. They will cause this country to start burning. And it's all because you couldn't be bothered to let Tommy Robinson have a little more variety in his diet and allow him the visitation he rightly deserves. I want you to do the right thing, Nicola. I don't want to have to make a video in the future and say, well, Nicola Marfleet's dead. I don't want that. And I don't even want it for Keir the traitor Starmer. I know there are some people who would want him to hang, quite frankly. And hell, to some lesser degree I do. Because he should be tried in court, charged and found guilty under treason, and then he should hang for all of his war crimes and his actual crimes against the British people, quite frankly. But I don't want to see him killed in an uprising. But you have the power to stop this, Nicola. Grant him his freedom. Or if you can't grant him his freedom, grant him his visitation at least. He shouldn't even be in your prison, quite frankly. He shouldn't even be anywhere near a Category A or B prison. He is a civil offender, not a criminal offender, and he's certainly not a terrorist. So I beg the question, Nicola, when is he going to be free? When is he going to get his visitation? When is he going to be able to be treated like a human fucking being? Well, that's a question you've got to answer, Nicola. Because I'll tell you right now, if you don't start giving him access to his visits, there's going to be thousands of us turn up outside Woodhill prison. We will protest peacefully, I'd like to hope, and we will put you under the same immense pressure as Belmarsh. And we'll see how you like it. How you like being surrounded with four walls, only this time you haven't got a few hundred prisoners or so to take care of. You will have thousands of people outside those prison walls vying for the release of Tommy Robinson. Make your choice, Nicola, but I would think long and hard if I were you, because we will not hesitate to make good on that promise, to come up there and see the prison in our thousands, and then we will see how you like getting a taste of your own medicine.